Hey, thank you for joining us. So today's been a busy day. I just got finished writing a BERNINAWeAllSew.com blog post. Yeah, weallsew.com is Bernina's blog. And I did a little write-up on the instructions for the scrub cap that we've been making. But nonetheless, so we are here today to learn what to do when your thread breaks on your embroidery machine. So we're going to use the Bernina 880 Plus today in our demonstration, but never fear, if you have a 7 series or a 5 series, you'll be able to figure it out because we're not doing any special tools that you don't have on your 7 series or your 5 series machines. So let's go straight to the 880 simulator so you can see what we're talking about. What you're looking at here is the Bernina 880 screen that you get when you plug your module in and turn your machine on. There's the alphabet folder, the preloaded designs folder, and the heart folder. Those of you that have the 770 and the 570 don't see the stitch, the zigzag, and the straight stitch, but that is something that you see on the 790 and the 880 Plus and the 590, so ignore that for now. We're going to use the first folder in the butterfly folder and go to number 1, and these are the Susanna Mueller designs that she made the beautiful designs that you saw in the black and white dress when the 8 series was launched in 2008. So we're going to pick this first stitch and bring it into the hoop. Now, there's no need to really pay any attention to the size or where it's hooped or the center or whatever. We're going to just straight up embroider this in the hoop. This is a 4-color design, and we're just going to simply stitch this out. Now, let's look at a few things on the screen. First of all, we can see that we're going to start with this nice chartreuse color. We can see over on the left-hand side that the design is going to take 20 minutes to stitch out, and this particular color is going to take 3 minutes. We also have this bounding box. Now, the bounding box is really helpful if you're going to pre-hoop stabilizer and put the fabric on top. I like to do this when I'm working with fabrics with pile, something like a velvet or even like a leather or anything that's going to be challenging to fit in the hoop. There are 2 ways that you can use the bounding box. The first one will be a design that goes just around the design, and then the second one is going to baste around the perimeters of the hoop. Now, this is the magic design. This is the broken thread design. This is the one that we're going to pay attention today for this class. But we want to go back to our edit screen because we really don't want to play with this basting box. So we're going to remove the basting box. Now we're going to go back to the broken thread icon. Here we are. So there's a couple of things that you want to take note of here. First of all, we can always go back and we can always go forwards. And there's several different ways to do that. The first way is to go back using your top knob. That's the stitch width adjustment knob. That one's going to go back 1 stitch at a time. The knob below it, which is our stitch length knob, is going to go back and forward faster in the cycle of stitches because it's going to go about every 10 stitches or so as you flip through the design. So if we had embroidered a lot, and we didn't really realize that our thread had broken or what have you, you might use that option. But for the most part, we're going to use the top knob as our example to go back through the stitches. Now, there are many reasons why you might want to cycle back through your stitches. Sometimes the machine is going to recognize that the thread broke, and sometimes you're just going to be like, oops, oh my goodness, I threaded up the wrong color, I need to go back. When you have threaded up the wrong color, the machine is obviously not going to know that, but you're going to stop the machine, you're going to click that broken thread icon, and you're going to go back, break the thread, stop it, remove it, change to a new color, and then cycle back through the stitches in order to get back to where you want to start. There is also a broken thread indicator sensor on your machine. So if you're stitching along and all of a sudden something indeed does happen to the thread, the machine will recognize that the thread broke, it's going to stop, it gives you a specific symbol, and then that way you can cycle back through the machine, and you want to overstitch about 10 stitches further back than where the machine left off. So I've hooped up some material here in my machine and we're ready to stitch this design. So the first thing I'm going to do is thread up my machine. I have my bobbin on my Bernina 880 Plus threaded for embroidery only. I've got a cutaway stabilizer and I have 100% cotton thread in my hoop. I'm going to press the green flashing button. My machine is going to remind me that I need to thread it for embroidery. I select OK and then I proceed. Now the machine is stitching now. We're stitching along. Now here's our screen and this is kind of showing us where our machine is in reference to our design. We've got the countdown over there in the bottom left-hand corner. So we've got 2 minutes to go on this color and about 17 minutes to go for the whole design. Now I'm going to stop and show you how to back up. So I'm going to touch our special broken thread icon and I'm just going to back up. Let's pretend that I needed to go back a little bit. I wanted to stitch over something, a ladybug flopped down in the middle of our hoop, whatever would happen. But we're going to stop the machine. We're going to use our top knob to cycle back through the stitching. You can see on the screen that it's moving. And if we move the camera back down into the hoop, you can see that the machine itself is going to move back too. And so we're going to move it back, get it just to where we want to start again. And then we're going to press our flashing green light to get started again. And we haven't missed a beat in our embroidery design. Now there's often going to be a situation where for whatever reason, possibly you needed to change your needle, possibly there was an obstruction somewhere along the threading path, who knows? But often your machine is going to be in the middle of an embroidery design and it's actually going to break the thread. Now hopefully your upper thread, don't fear, just simply press the X button. And now you see that we're in our broken stitch screen. And now we're going to remove the thread from the thread path, always pulling the thread through the machine in the stitching direction rather than pulling it up through the machine where we could do some damage to the little intricate parts in the machine. I'm going to trim my thread and get rid of all of those long threads. Then I'm simply going to rethread the machine. Don't forget the Bernina 880 Plus has this fancy little robot that comes down from the heavens to thread the machine for us. I don't know who it was that invented this, but they were a genius. When I do my threading, I do like to give a little bit of slack to the thread. This seems to help make sure that every time I use my little Swiss robot that threads the needle, it's going to ensure to work every time. So once the needle's threaded, I'm going to cycle back through my design. Maybe I need to go about 10 stitches back to get back to where I left off. And then once I'm in just the right spot, I'm going to press my green flashing sewing light and proceed with finishing my embroidery design. And so you can see we're on our merry way. Now, there's always the opportunity where things happen. And I've literally had this situation happen where I'm stitching an embroidery design just in my little happy la-la place. And then for no fault of my own, somebody comes along and unplugs the machine. Well, don't worry. There's a fail-safe for this. So if that happens, the one thing that you want to be sure to do is to make sure that the needle's in the highest position. Sometimes it happens that the needle's going to land in the down position and then get stuck. And then when you turn your machine back on, you don't want that to happen because then the hoop can't move freely. So make sure before anything else that you use the hand wheel and turn the needle in the sewing direction so it's in the highest position. Once you do that, you want to go through the booting up process, and that takes a minute. The machine is going to turn back on. You're going to hear the stepping motors. You're going to see the light come on. It's going to want you to remove the hoop. It's going to reprocess the calibration of the hoop and all of those things. But then once you get everything put back, the hoop put back on the machine, the machine will pick up where the embroidery left off before it came unplugged. And then the only thing that I would recommend doing is reversing through the stitching, sewing over a little bit of where you left off, and then you'll be right on track again to finish your embroidery design. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? You didn't need to censor yourself while you had problems with your thread breakage. No, because in this easy 15-minute tutorial, you've learned all of the things that you need to do in order to have a good sewing experience, even if there's a little snafu with your machine. So, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe youtube.com/BERNINA of Naperville. And then if you want to be alerted for when there are new videos that we post, click the little bell, and then every time we add a new video, you're going to get an alert. So until next time, stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and if you have to go to the grocery store, do it in style. Thank you.